Your favourite stroke best career goal hasn't come for QPR, hasn't come for Bristol City or Middlesbrough or Aston Villa. Your favourite career goal was for Harrow Borough.
They're my favourite goal so far.
Welcome to Harrow Borough's YouTube channel. We're joined today by a very special guest, Harrow Borough legend and our QPR fan favourite, Uncle Albert Adoma. Albert, welcome back. How does it feel to be back at Harrow Borough, where it all started?
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure coming back as always. I come back this season already to play in a pre-season friendly, which was amazing. Great reception, but coming here, I always have love for this place, so it's good to come back,
And you were telling us earlier that you had a strange incident on the way to the ground today. Who did you meet?
So coming back here, the guy that actually introduced me to David Harrow, that used to be the old Harrow Borough manager, a good friend of him. I met him on the way here, and he's the one that actually called up Harrow Borough for me to come here, and I just happened to bump into him today, out of all days.
That is crazy. Is he taking any credit for the career that you've had?
Listen, since day one, I know he helped me. I'm happy with his help, and it was just amazing. He always take credit. He has to take credit, because if it wasn't for that call, who knows? Because even I think I told you earlier, when I first came Harrow Borough, I came on trials with the reserve team. I never got noticed, but I never gave up. And then a few weeks later, the guy that I just spoke about, he's the one that called up David Howe and said, look, you should give this boy a chance, just tell him to come up and let him show what he can do. And before you knew it, I came down, trained with the youth team, and then the rest was history.
So going back to those, he said when it all started at Harrow Borough, it's 2006. So long time ago now, I'm afraid. 2006, obviously you joined us. Talk us through, what was happening at the time. How old were you? What were you doing in your life? What was the plan? What were your circumstances? What was going on at the time?
Well, at the time, this is going back. Oh, if I can remember everything, wow. I can remember certain things vividly. So from 2006, I think I was around 18, about to turn 19. And at that time, I was doing apprenticeship, doing scholarship in college at the time. I think I was at acting college, doing paint and decorating, and then working for painting company. Very good boss of mine who supported Chelsea at the time. I should have mentioned Chelsea, but he helped me. I had to ask for days off work sometimes to come training or finish work early and then come here and train. And sometimes I used to get picked up by one of my teammates, because at the time I didn't drive. So one of the senior players at the time, his name is Crazy Frimpong. He's still a very good friend of mine that used to pick me up after work, and then we both get here. And for me, I never looked back since. It was hard work. Doing non-league, working and playing football at the time it was hard. You just had to shuffle it together, or just knowing what to do certain days. It was difficult times, because you had to work and play. But most of us at that time, we wanted to be footballers, but at the same time, playing non-league football, you weren't really earning money, so you had to work. We had doctors even playing for us. I remember a striker that we had here at one time was Elliot, was doing medicine to become a doctor, and I was thinking, wow, this is just incredible. So you have all different life skills trying to be footballers, but if it doesn't work out, everyone has a plan B. And I think for me, my plan B was maybe painting and decorating, but I wanted to be a footballer, and only God knows I'm still playing since 2016.
Yeah, what we're on now, 16 years.
16
years later, you're still playing. So you've kind of mentioned there that, was it, even at that time, 18, was it, plan A, I want to be a footballer, and painting and decorating was, fall back on a trade, or was it the other way around? I'm going to earn a trade, and if the football takes off, then that's a bonus. What way round was it?
I think being young, when you're young, you just want the best for yourself. So I think at that time, I'll be honest and say, look, I wanted to be a footballer, because that's where I thought maybe the money's at, and I just wanted to show my skill set, and I believed in my talent, so I knew I'll be a footballer, but I didn't know when. So that's the only problem, because I've never played in an academy, so obviously I don't know how it goes. So just coming from college to football, semi-pro football was difficult, so I never knew if maybe painting was A or B, but I just knew football was the first choice, and then after that, if that didn't work, then maybe fall back to painting and decorating.
So even in those early days, obviously at Harrow Borough's type level, the kind of crowds that there were, how was that for you? In playing, in front of hundreds of people. Were you nervous, and did you relish it? And how did it all go?
I mean, before I played for the youth team first at Harrow Borough, and we used to get a crowd of maybe 50 people in the crowd. For me, that was more than enough, And eventually, reserve team we get 100, and then before you knew it, I was in the first team we getting 200, 300. And that was just amazing, just seeing people just to come in to support the local team, just having crowd there, playing in front of someone, and you're thinking, wow, I can actually show my talent and someone can actually see what you can do. Was just amazing feeling, and it was just great. I was nervous because obviously that's the first time I was actually playing in front of big crowds, but eventually you get used to it. The supporters cheering the club on, singing your name. They're like, wow, they actually like me, and you just want to produce, so it was a nice feeling, getting supporters supporting the team.
Yeah, I mean that's what non-league football's all about. As you said, I'm glad you felt that way. I'm gonna test your memory now. So you were here for 3 years, 2006 to 2008. Yeah. A little known fact, I think, amongst probably a lot of people is that of all the teams you've played for, all the games you've played, yes. your favourite stroke best career goal hasn't come for QPR, hasn't come for Bristol City or Middlesbrough or Aston Villa. Your favourite career goal was for Harrow Borough against AFC Wimbledon. What can you remember about it? Can you talk us through it?
Like what you just said there, my favourite goal so far in football was at Harrow Borough, non-league football. I'm proud to say it since this day. Maybe I might score a better goal, but as it stands, against AFC Wimbledon at the time, I scored a winning goal in front of nearly 3,000 supporters, and at the time that was the most supporters I played in front. So to score the winning goal at the time was like, wow, amazing, brilliant, fantastic. And I actually thought I was going to get moved after that goal. It was the best goal I've scored.
You were hoping there was a scout in the 3,000 crowd.
There was 3,000 there, but there's no scout. So imagine that, the best goal I scored in my career so far. But but the rest was history. But for me, that time was the best feeling, knowing that there was 3,000 spectators at the time, watching an amazing game, because AFC Wimbledon at the time in non-league football was known for being the biggest club at the time. I think it was the Ryman's League in non-league football. So yeah, it was the best goal that I scored. I even set up Jamie Lawrence to score one of the goals, which was a good moment, setting someone like Jamie Lawrence up to score a goal, someone that you watch in a Premiership, and then he's in the non-league playing football with you. It's like, wow, it's just amazing.
It's a real kind of moment, obviously one of your main memories from football, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, definitely, because when you're young and you have like senior players at the time like Jamie Lawrence coming into the team, you're like, wow, this guy used to be a professional footballer, and now he's here with us trying to teach us. And sometimes he actually used to take the training sessions where it was like intense. It's like you just want to give up. It's just like military training session with Jamie Lawrence. It's like work you till you just blown out. You can't even walk. You can't even talk. You can't even breathe. That's how it felt like. Just literally just some military SAS sessions. That's what it felt like. But it was all for the good. And I'll never look back and say, oh, I regret this. But it was just a nice feeling just to see ex-professional footballers coming into non-league, and even the likes of Steve Claridge as well coming now, trying to make the most appearance in league football. I believe it was trying to reach 1,000 league appearance.
You're over halfway there. You can. It's doable. You've obviously reached past that record of yours recently. Yeah. Looking back as well, obviously you spent 3 years here. You're up to 2006 to 2008. And then that's when it went kind of crazy and really took off. So, you went from here to Barnet and then on to Bristol City. So you went from non-league football with Harrow Borough to League Two with Barnet, and then to the Championship with Bristol City, all in the space of 2.5, 3 years. I mean, that must have been crazy. What was the How was it for you? What was the jump like from here to Barnet, first of all, and then from Barnet to Bristol City?
Well, the jump from non-league football to professional football at the time was League Two, because I was doing well in non-league football, as you all probably know. I was a striker, scoring goals, went into a wing position because we had too many centre forward in the first team, so I had to produce assists from the wing, score goals, and then I moved on. But before I went to Barnet, I was actually supposed to go Dagenham and Redbridge, where I turned them down, and then that same day I got a call from my agent saying, don't worry, next day we're going Barnet. Went Barnet, signed for Barnet, and for me it was different because League Two I had to adapt because I was used to training sort of part-time non-league football, Tuesdays, maybe Thursday, and then play Saturday. But Barnet was professional in League Two, where you had to train Monday to Friday, so it's like a new regime where I had to sort of adapt. The intensity was high. I had to get used to that, even though I was a fit boy at the time, fit teenager at the time, but I had to adapt to it. And eventually, once I got my momentum going, I think I started every game. Once I made my debut, I started, I think, about 80 games in a row, which was like, wow, and I never thought I'd do that. I can actually go through Barnet, play 22 games, 46 games, and then 43 games. It's like in 3 seasons, which was like, wow, it's just amazing.
And then, as we said, from Barnet, I said a couple of years later, you've gone from League Two. Bristol City came in a couple of years later. So again, another huge jump. How did all that come about from Barnet to Bristol City? And again, how did you adapt to another big, step up?
I think what really helped me the most was playing, obviously, non-league football as well. Going to Barnet, doing that big jump, adapting to the intensity of the training sessions, and leaving Barnet to go to Championship was another jump. Missing that League One to go to another higher league I knew that what was coming was I had to adapt once again, because I knew I was fitter again, but at the same time the intensity level was different because the match tempo was sharper. And once I got used to pre-season, played 1-2 games before you knew I was playing every game, starting every game. I can go through again. I played my first season, 46 games plus cup games. Second season, 46 games plus cup games. 43 games plus cup games. So that's like over 120 games in 3 seasons, and the rest was history. And then I move on again, same thing. I just have to sort of replicate everything that I've been doing in non-league, in the higher league. And I think it's just the hard work, appreciating where I came from in the past. Like I said, I never played in academy football, so I think non-league working and playing sort of woke me up. I appreciated everything, hard work, determination, and that's what I always say to the youngsters: don't be sidetracked, and I think that's their philosophy or the mindset that I have. Just work hard and just repeat everything that I've done in non-league to a better standard in the higher leagues.
So, and obviously after there, you've, as people that have followed your career probably know, obviously you've been to other championship clubs, Aston Villa, Middlesbrough, etc. And now you're at QPR. You've obviously been at QPR for a couple of years. Did you realise when you signed, or did you imagine when you signed for QPR, what a big kind of fans' favourite stroke, cult hero, whatever you want to call it, you would be? I remember early this season, for example, a prime example of that was, you'll remember this well, because you scored the winning penalty that night against Leyton Orient in the Cup. But as a prime example of kind of how the connection you have with the QPR fans, it was first round of the Carabao Cup. Obviously went to penalties, you scored the winning penalty, and the celebrations, were crazy. Obviously you're up on the advertising hoardings, singing along, clapping with the fans, and you've got a great connection with the Rangers fans.
Well, before I come on to the Leyton Orient moment, it's just QPR, as you know, has been my local team, just like Harrow, it was a close local team. Obviously QPR was in the higher leagues at the time, but I always supported the local side, and QPR was my team, and I don't think some of the supporters knew at the time I supported QPR, even though I've been on the journey playing for Harrow Borough. When I used to play for Harrow, we used to play against QPR in the friendly games, so I always used to look forward to it so I can boast to my friends, look, I'm playing against the team that I support, our local team, you know. And I think that's where it sort of stemmed from, just like my local team supporting QPR, my local team, and then I've been moving around, playing against even QPR, scoring against them in the past, and then eventually ending back in London, the team that I followed, supported, they signed me, and then it was just words couldn't describe it, you know. I even said this in the interview, you know, if I come QPR, it would be like one of the best feelings in football, you know, because it's going past the stadium as a youngster, playing next to the stadium, thinking one day I'll be playing in this stadium or even playing against QPR in the stadium. I've achieved that. Now I signed for them, I'm playing for them. It's just the best feeling. And at the moment we're just outside the playoffs this season, but if we can stay in the playoff, I got a feeling that this season could be our season. Yeah, so against Leyton Orient in the cup game was I think the day the supporters were allowed to come back into the stadium. So it's been a long time. As you know, the pandemic was stressful for loads of families, you know, not to be able to go out to socialise with their friends or even family day trips out was hard, and to get supporters back into stadium was the best feeling. And even me playing for QPR, sometimes I felt like I was the only supporter supporting the team, even though I knew I was a player. You know, I just felt like, where's the supporters? And having them back and scoring a winning pen against Leyton Orient at the time, I just thought just a perfect moment just to embrace the supporters being back. Even though I wasn't supposed to do it, I got noticed, I got a warning not to do that next time, but I just thought it just out of my
spur of the moment, spur the moment, emotion,
spur of the moment time, you know, just to embrace the supporters, just being there, just being able to come out of the house, just being free, just to embrace that feeling, you know, just to say that I'm one of them, you know. We're just happy just to have you there. We're just the best feeling, amazing feeling.
As you say, QPR obviously on the pushing for the playoffs at the moment, and obviously everyone here at Harrow Borough and all QPR fans are hoping that you make it, and B, that obviously you go up to the Premier League. So obviously the plan is to be, you know, a Premier League player, you know, hopefully next season with QPR. How do you feel the season's going so far? I mean, would you know, it's a bit of a cliche question, but would you have taken where QPR are at the moment at the start of the season? And looking ahead to the last 10 or 12 games, what's the aim?
I mean, where we are now, we're just outside the playoffs, but we know if we win 1 or 2 games, we'll be back in the playoffs. But I think we'll take it from the beginning of the season, because we wanted to be in the playoff spots, and we know we still got 12 games left. It's just down to us. It's not down to other results. If we perform how we know we can do, we can definitely maintain a playoff spot, and then the rest is just down to us, whether we just get the promotion done through the playoff finals, which will be amazing, because every player, QPR supporters, they want it to happen, and we believe that we can do it as players. But at the moment we're just having a slight blip, but we just have to put that right.
Absolutely. Obviously, got a big game on Sunday at the weekend, Luton. I've got to ask this while I've got the chance. So after you've got obviously promoted with QPR and you've played a season or 2 in the Premier League, when can we expect you back in the red shirt of Harrow Borough?
Well, after I'll play at QPR, hopefully when we get to the promised land, I'll play more than 3 games. I just need to play more than 3 games in the Premiership, and then my dreams has been completed, because I've been promoted before with Middlesbrough. I played 2 games, so if I can play 3 games with the team that I support, the team that I love, then the rest after that I can retire happily, but then I can come back to non-league. Yes, Harrow Borough will be the first club, but you know what? I think I'll probably go for the manager's job. Sorry, Gaffer.
Steve Baker, if you're watching, obviously don't worry, it's not going to be for a while.
By then, you won't be in charge. Trust me, you'll be at Chelsea, Steve. Between me and you, be
not sure about that at the moment. We'll see.
But I'll be coming for the job. If I can still play, I'll see. But I'll apply for the job, because I'm still doing my coaching badges. So why not? I'll take a shot. I'll apply for the job and see.
Excellent stuff. You're on film now, so that is a verbal contract,
No
by the way. Okay.
No problem.
Turning to look at non-league football a little bit more.
Yes.
I mean, do you, obviously it's difficult, I'd imagine, for you to follow it too closely because the schedules in the Championship and non-league are so similar. Saturday, Tuesday. So I'd imagine it's a little bit difficult for you to follow it too closely. But do you keep an eye out for the scores? You know, which teams are doing well? Any players that you think, hang on, I might, keep an eye on them? You know, how closely are you able to follow it?
What I do at this moment in time, because obviously I'm playing, so I can't really get time to come down, watch Harrow play, or even Barnet, both of my ex-teams, I can't really get time to watch them play. But I always have an app where I always follow the result on my app just to see how they're doing, what position they're in. And at the moment, Harrow just mid-table, and they're doing okay. But I'm sure they can probably push on and do well. But that's what I do nowadays, literally just follow the teams on my app just to keep out the result in non-league football. But I think it would be nice as well if in future, if they can televise non-league football a bit more, just like ourselves, just like the EFL, they televise the highlights and everything. So if they can do non-league football, so I think that'll open a lot of avenues for other teams in non-league, just to build up their profile as well.
And sticking with non-league football, over the last 2 years, obviously with everything that's happened, I think the general consensus, the general view is that non-league football, a majority of clubs and are thriving. Attendances are up at kind of non-league games kind of across the country in the various divisions, which is obviously a great thing. What do you think's behind that? What's behind the increasing crowds and over the last couple of years?
I think what's behind the increasing of crowd is because of probably the pandemic. People just being isolated at home, not being able to get out of their houses. And I think once the football restart started, it started off with non-league, and I think that sort of helped. Even like teams that will support Premiership teams or other higher teams will think, why not? Let's just take a family trip out to a non-league ground. And I think that's what maybe local supporters should do, not just support your big clubs and whatnot, but as a community, if you can go out and support your local small clubs, that helps the community. And I think because of the pandemic, it sort of helped the increase or the capacity of crowds, attendance going up. And I think it helps, it helps the local teams, people going out. And it's good to know, or good to hear that there's crowds at games. And I think I touched on this when I used to play. The biggest attendance was just the best team in the league, AFC Wimbledon at the time, would bring crowd away or home games. But apart from that, you might be lucky just to get 200 or 300 supporters. But if there's more people attending games, then that means something is going right in there.
I think, you're definitely right. But hopefully that kind of sticks. It's not just I'm going to go until QPR or Arsenal, Chelsea start playing again. You kind of need to build that connection. A lot of the supporters here, they've all, they support Harrow Borough, but they've also got a Chelsea or a QPR or West Ham, whatever. So you are allowed to support two teams. A big team, your big team and your local team. I don't know if you saw recently. I mean, that's what we're trying to get across locally. We've just started a schools ticket scheme here, and a couple of weeks ago, the first one, we had over 70 kids turn up. 3-2 Harrow Borough won, so it couldn't have worked out much better that day. But the whole point of that was trying, obviously, to show them. A lot of them just live within 5-10 minutes of the ground and didn't know we were here or hadn't come before. Obviously, it was a good game that day. But it's kind of building the connection and telling them, you can support Arsenal or Chelsea or QPR, but Harrow Borough's on your doorstep.
No, I think what you said was just perfect. I think if the clubs as well can do more, like providing extra tickets for like youngsters, they come here, open their eyes out, not just support United, Chelsea, Arsenal, the big teams. At least they know there's a local club there, so they can even suggest to their parents, Dad, Mum, Auntie, Grandma, can you just take me to my local side? And I'm sure their parents would think, oh, why not? It's just 2 minutes drive or a bus journey down the road. And I think that helps, and I'm actually happy that just to hear that Harrow are actually doing that process, just inviting school children to attend, and it will bring the support up as well. And the youngsters, before you know it, Harrow Borough might be their first team, not even Chelsea or Arsenal, whatever. So I think it's very good for non-league, and if the more the non-league clubs can do that as well, if Harrow can do it, I'm sure other clubs can do it, and then I think that will help their attendance too.
Linking that in, following on from that, in terms of trying to get people through the gate. In a couple of weeks' time, Saturday the 26th of March is non-league day, which is an annual event. That day, it coincides with the international break. So obviously there's no Premier League or Championship games that day. England are playing Switzerland at Wembley at 5:30. So for any QPR fans out there that haven't got a game at Loftus Road, or
Don't watch England.
What would you say to QPR fans and other people that may be watching that support a big team that aren't playing on the 26th? What would you say to them?
Just support your local club. It's the international break. Yes, you'll be watching England play, but if you have a local team like Harrow Borough in non-league, just go out there and just show your support if you can. It will be amazing. It doesn't matter what team you support, just attend to one of your local clubs and support the team. That'll be amazing, guys.
Absolutely. I said non-league days, Saturday the 26th of March. Go onto their website, nonleagueday.co.uk. They've got a match finder there, so put in your postcode and it will come up with all your local games. Get down and support your local team. Albert, thank you very much for joining us, and lovely to have you back at Harrow Borough. And as you said, hopefully it won't be too long before you see you again soon.
5 years' time, I'll be the next manager.
You heard it. You heard it here first. Cheers.
Thank you. That's good. No, thank you very much.